Well, guys, thank you for coming. It's a pleasure to be here. I'm Mateo Martínez. I'm the chapter leader of Uruguay. And I'm going to talk about governance, because in every single assessment of SAMM that I have made, okay, governance goes to zero, almost zero, or 0.1, okay, but it's very low in general, okay. A quick introduction. I have been the chapter leader of OWASP Uruguay for 10 years. Okay, I started at OWASP on 2010. I was chapter leader till 2020, and last year I started again. Okay, in the leadership of the chapter. But I started. I was the CISO of TCS, the Indian company. Okay, 10,000 people in Latin America. Okay, and in 2010, they told me, okay, you need to teach them about cyber AppSec and to train all of them and to create a maturity model. Okay, and I didn't know OWASP at that time. And I said, my team, we were like 5 people, okay? So it was impossible to train 10,000 people or to create a model that applied to total different technologies. So I started looking for someone to help me, and I met OWASP, okay, I know the project, I started learning about SAMM, SAP, and all the projects, okay, that could help me doing that job. So we implemented SAMM, then I moved to Foundstone, so again, we started doing SAMM assessments, okay, and 7 years ago, I started my own company, and right now we have around 1,000 companies, okay, with DevOps and automated solutions. And probably half of them, like 50, okay, with some assessment done, okay, and working on improving on the path to maturity, okay, and using SAMM. So why governance? Because of that, okay. I really believe that it's a very important part, okay, in order to implement the full model. I love, Lemons, your point about this is not for engineers. I believe that it's something in the middle, probably, okay, and you were joking about that. But yes, we need to have a big picture, okay, of what we are doing. Probably when we're talking about fuzzing or something more technical, we need people to engage there. But just, I will skip some slides just about cybersecurity in general, but it's a hot topic, okay, and we need to solve problems in the world. If we check this World Economic Forum risk, okay, cyber attacks is the 5th, okay, point over here. And when we discuss with general managers of financial sector, a bank, for example, okay, they don't care about someone stealing money with guns, okay. The risks right now are on the mobile phone or the mobile application, in their web app, okay. They don't want fraud, they don't want any vulnerability to be exploited over there, okay. So when we talk about the CISO problems, there are a lot of stuff, okay, and of course, AppSec is a small part, okay, important but small, around several and hundred of problems. And I love this picture about when we talk about issues, okay, and bugs, okay, when we just dig a dive over there, it's a huge monster, okay. And just finishing the introduction about the market. This is the Gartner latest paper, okay, in application security. And a part of the companies compared over there and the ranking, I love this thing about shiftless have been achieved, okay? They said something that, okay, we are, corporations and big companies already did it, okay? We shifted left, we engaged the developers, we started, okay, doing at initial steps, phases of the software development lifecycle, implement security. We know that we are over there, it's not perfect, okay? We need more habits, we need more things to be done, okay? But it's important, and if we talk about technologies, there are a lot of technology that we need to implement, okay? In order to create a secure environment, a secure building, okay, to implement. We mentioned during the initial sessions, okay, about SAST, SSA, some of the technologies. We have DAST, we have infrastructure as code, we have mobile application security, we have all the cloud operation, native application security that we need to implement, okay, to secure pipelines, to create a secure design, secure building. We discuss also about threat modeling. And this is the hype cycle, okay? that also I follow on Gartner every time they launch it. It's very interesting what else is coming, okay, what we need to take aware, okay. And sometimes this is also bigger from the frameworks or bigger from the models, okay, it's more a technical aspect of what we need to implement. Okay, modern apps, okay, moving, DevSecOps is coming and we already implemented. This is just how we, Max in the morning, talk about ISO, okay, and how to implement our security policy and going down the flow with the apps program, okay, and implementing each of the practices and if we go to DevOps, I will talk a little bit about this some, okay, so it's a quick summary about this. Aram told me not to deep dive on the full model. I'm not going to do it, but maybe I will just deep dive a little bit in some of them, okay. Indeed, it's a government talk, so just about government. But just because sometimes we skip some of the very interesting things that are on SAMM, okay? And so that's why I will dive on some of the points that for me are very interesting about governance, okay? Let me skip these slides, okay, and jump just into governance, okay? If not, we are going late to lunch, okay? I have time, just to make it great for all of us. So when we talk about governance, okay, we have strategy and metrics, policy compliance, and education and guidance. And sometimes when we start the assessment, we got nothing from here, okay? Okay, we don't have policies, we don't have metrics, we don't have any compliance, we don't have, probably we have some trainings, okay, ad hoc or generic for all the developers, but not something specific. So when we deep dive in the model, we have a lot and tons of very critical information, which is what I want to highlight, okay? From the governance, okay, and if we talk about strategy and metrics, okay, we need to measure, okay? We need to improve from there. We need to have information, okay? So it's very important. Max also said that we have two streams. It's important from here. And again, sometimes we just get till here, okay? When we do the assessment and when we discuss with the teams, okay, we just go to the maturity levels, where you are, create and promote, or the stream B, measure and improve. But if we go into the model and try to deep dive, we have the 3 maturity models, okay? We have exactly what we need to do over here. We have the questions. I love the idea of having also habits over here, okay? What's practical we could include, okay, in the model. But we have the 3 maturity models just, for example, for create and promote, okay? What we can do to promote the model, to promote the governance, to create something interesting for the company which is aligned to the business requirements, okay? And the same if we talk about measures, here we have some activities and we have some definition, like effort, the result, the environment. So we could go to something like this, okay? We have this kind of information just within the model, okay? So when we talk about strategy and metrics, we have some examples in SAMM, okay? So it's important to know what we have already in SAMM, okay? After that, we could create our own metrics. And later I will talk about some DORA metrics and how we could apply DORA metrics, okay, into the AppSec program. But just from what we have from the SAMM model, we have metrics. And I don't want Aram to talk about your conference for tomorrow, just a little bit. But training hours, spend time, okay, performing manual code reviews, okay, lean time, okay, patches and security bugs that we are fixing, number of application or the density of applications errors that we have, okay, like errors per 1,000 lines of code, for example. So, and this information, it's on the model, so you have a lot of information, okay? For the ones without too much experience on the model, you have a lot of information just from SAMM to bring it, okay, into your company or into your customers, okay, wherever you are applying this. And the same about policy and compliance and education. You have training, you have the culture that Max also mentioned as one of the most important things, okay, when you are implementing model. So then we have this SAMM, okay, just created for DevOps. And the first answer when I get in touch with DSOM is why this is different. Why it's different between SAMM and DSOM. Why we need DSOM is the initial question. Probably, and there were tons of conversations across OWASP about that. Okay, SAMM should be a model that applies also for DevSecOps. Okay, indeed applies, totally applies for DevSecOps. So in the data slide that I mentioned, DSOM applies like at more technical level. Okay, so we could discuss about more technical aspects, what we need to implement. Okay, and more tactical aspects. Okay, so we could use both, and the idea is to use both. That's why those models coexist. Okay, let's try to use SAMM as a real governance model to define what we need to do, and with DSOM we could implement technical and tactics, okay, activities that we need to implement, okay, at our DevOps, okay. So here we have also some points like patch management, education, okay, orientation. Some of them are similar to what we have in SAMM, okay, but we could go deeper on the technical aspects, okay, and we have one more activity, okay, in the DSOM model, okay, but it's quite similar. And we can create this kind of maturity models, okay, with DSOM, okay, going for initial phases till maturity ones, okay, and we could do an assessment of our organization, our customers, okay, to find where they are at a DSOM level, okay. Then you could also map. It's like with tools like CRE, okay, you could do mapping, okay. If you apply, you are already compliant with ISO, or you are already compliant with SAMM, okay, and you want to map with this or some other, or vice versa, okay. It's quite simple. You could go to these tools, okay, and you have the standard, which one you want to compare, okay, and you could have that mapping, okay, and go faster, okay. Sometimes when we reach a company that they have some model as a base, okay, it's quite simple. We could do the mapping. They will ask for some evidence of that they have, and that's it. It's more simple than starting from scratch, okay, and sometimes we need to train them and explain them what we're doing this, what are the questions, okay, or what is the focus of that SAMM function, for example. So it's easier sometimes to do the mapping, okay, already, and I have this kind of information. This is an example from ISO to DSOM, for example. So it's quite simple to have the full mapping over here. So what are the pillars of this? Okay, so culture, okay, we need to educate. We already talked about this, okay, during the morning. At the operative level, we need to work on the roles and responsibilities, and all about generating a knowledge base, okay, for the team, and of course, work on metrics, okay, and DORA applies obviously here. DORA metrics are not exactly for AppSec programs, okay, but it's easy to adapt them, okay, and to implement it in our level, okay. The other model that it's important to introduce is CALMS, okay, which is totally lines of what we're talking, okay, and when we're talking to a roadmap for DevSecOps, okay, those 4 topics, SAMM, DSOM, CALMS, and DORA are part of the core of what we need to do, okay, and to implement a good program. I would take habits as another point to add, which is very interesting. But we already have a lot of things which are also similar, like the culture, again, but we add automation, lean, measurement, and sharing, okay? So those are very important things, okay, to implement in our DevOps route, okay, in order to be successful, in order to create that change in the organization, in order to automate things, in order to create something better, okay. When we talk about DevOps, in our environment, we want secure build, okay, secure reviews, verification, okay, automated testing, okay, to ensure that everything is happening, all that is happening, and it's not depending on who is doing the thing, okay. Again, with CALMS, we could do an assessment, okay, and to map our current situation within CALMS, and at the operating model, and if we talk about role and roles and organization, we could define also, and we need to work in the product team, okay? Define the responsibilities for the team. We need to define the enable team, okay? We need to have a resilience team to work, okay, with us, and to be with us. In general, implementing a center of excellence, we improve our quality, our services, okay, what we are doing, okay, and everything. Of course, you have the capability to have a research team. It's also better to create tools or to improve tools or to test tools, okay, to include in our environment. And last are the DORA metrics, okay, just a quick overview, okay, of what we could implement from here, but lead time to changes is the first thing that we implement with DORA, okay, it's core of what we need to do. The deployment frequency, okay, Max also mentioned today some of the improvement that they did, okay, and this is of course part of what we want to do, okay, and what we want to measure, okay, we need to go faster to market, we need to improve our time to market, okay, so this is that measure that the business wants to see, so it's important for us to create several metrics and KPI around that. Main time to recovery, okay, and the change failure rates are part of the DORA metrics, okay, that we need to implement. So the question here is, okay, what we need to do in order to transform DORA metrics, okay, into AppSec metrics, okay, into our AppSec program metrics, okay, and again, there are a lot of information that we need to just adapt sometimes, okay, and also we could create a workshop or a brainstorming with the team, okay, at the business level, at the technical level, in order to generate those metrics. Okay, just a couple of things that we could implement at the DevOps, okay. In each phase we could, and we must implement cybersecurity, okay, or security controls, or AppSec controls, okay. But I show you some of the technologies, but here we could have, again, static analysis, okay, identity, secret management, okay, container images, API security, okay, cloud security, patch management, okay. It's a whole big picture that we need to define, okay, from the technical aspects, okay, but this should came from that strategic level, okay, at the governance, but of course we need to implement a lot of tools, okay, to define. Okay, I will just go about development, just fast for you guys, but we need to define the SDLC. I have more information, so I want to skip this once. It will be in the...
have lunch at 2, 3, yeah.
2, 3 is okay? Okay,
Yeah.
so... no, so I will just skip this part, okay, about value streaming and what we need at the risk level, security and cybersecurity, but I want to go straight into this thing, okay? Just to provide you some models about governance and what is happening in the market. So some insights in the market. This book is really good, both books, Accelerate and Team Topologies. I'm not sure if some of you already implemented this in the organizations or not, but it's really interesting what they are providing to us. The McKinsey model that several organizations are using it as the whole model, okay, around AppSec. So let me go quite fast around these 3 books, okay, or 2 books plus McKinsey, to try to bring up something from the governance level that could help us, okay, creating this strategy. But those books, Accelerate and Team Topologies, okay, will prepare us to create an agile, secure, okay, and efficient environment, okay. So it's really interesting, and it's a change of the mindset, you know, because in our old school we were talking about creating security champions all the time, okay, and we insisted on creating security champions in the organization. And as I mentioned, when I was at TCS, that was impossible, okay. 5 people to train or to be the champion of 10,000, it's quite impossible. And it's the situation of the majority of the organizations right now, okay. A small security team, a big dev team, okay. So the mindset is changing, and we are providing all the responsibility, okay, to the dev teams to be autonomous, okay. And this is what they mention on these 2 books, okay, on a change of the model, okay, to be completely, okay, autonomous on solving So the security team could recommend the tools, could define the policies, could define KPIs, could define metrics, could review what is happening, okay, could help them on improving, but the responsibility to create a secure product, okay, is from the devs team right now, okay? So from Accelerate, okay, the idea is to define high performance teams, okay? That's what the business needs right now, okay? So it's important to be faster, but to be secure, okay? I'm out of the image, right? Almost all the time. Sorry. I'm going again, no? Okay. But this book, okay, it's very interesting. This phrase, okay, from Jonathan, it's really interesting, okay, about defining, okay, predictable manners, okay, to implement security, okay, doing good things, okay, at a metrics level. And again, talking about metrics, if we deep dive a little bit, okay, we could talk about mean time to detection, mean time to remediation, the rate of vulnerabilities found, okay, the security policies compliance. So again, there are a lot of information, okay, that we could use in order to create our governance model, to define our metrics, okay. You have tomorrow a whole full presentation about this, but it's quite important to define the metrics, okay, based on this. And the same, if we talk about the scanning, okay, automation, or if you talk about infrastructure as code, it's part of what we need to implement, okay, in order to accelerate, in order to be faster, okay, and the same with the automated tools, okay, at the security level. So just about the organization culture a little bit, okay, foster collaboration, promote learning, and celebrate success, okay, part of what we were talking during the other sessions, okay, it's really important to have that in our teams, okay, and to provide them, okay, with education, knowledge, okay, on how to create this change of mind in order to change to DevOps mindset, okay, and to implement metrics, KPI, and to all talk about the same thing, okay. I have an exercise, guys, for all of you. Let's do it. The idea was to do it by groups, but let's just create an open discussions about some points, okay. Most about, let's start with the first one, okay. How often we release to production, okay, and what is stopping us to be faster, okay. So we have some questions here, some motivation questions, okay. What obstacles do we have? What stop us to be faster in our time to market? Okay. So if any one of you want to tell something about what is, yeah, go ahead.
I mean, the benefit is for business, of course, right? So you can push features faster, you can react to customer requirements faster.
Yeah, let's go to what is blocking us to be faster.
What's blocking us is maybe really to ensure the quality and to have all the checks done on the code before they push to production, like the vulnerabilities fixed, have the libraries updated, and things like this. Like the classical checks that you do.
Exactly. If you, first thing is you need to run some checks, okay? And if we are okay, we go to productive environment. But what happens if we fail, okay? Tons of SSA, okay? Continue with the example, okay? What we do with that? How we solve it? We have an SLA, okay? We need to update all our libraries in one day, okay? It's almost impossible in big organizations, okay? We have legacy software, we have non-compatible elements, okay? We need some design improvements, okay? So it's not always fast, and this is the real problem right now, okay? The remediation part, okay? How to fix all these automated things, okay? Another problem is that, okay, we block the pipelines when we go to production, okay, perfect. But what happens if we are not checking again, or if this program is not too fast and the next deploy it's in 1 month, okay? No one will check, okay, those SSA third-party libraries during a month. What happened with that? Okay, so another problems start coming when we define our models, okay, in DevSecOps, okay? And we need to take care of another things, not just, okay, I put a control here, okay, but what happens if we are not going through that control for a while? Okay, because it depends on the type of security check that we are doing. Okay, let's go to the change lead time. How long does it take from code commit to production deployment? Okay. mostly as a summary, how much time it's our pipeline, okay? From code to the cloud, for example. Any one of you have the average time in your companies, organization, customers?
You mean like
I'm the developer, I coded,
but these
commit.
these are merged to main branch, and then at a certain moment the main branch goes to production.
To cloud, to production.
Yeah, but what do you mean? Like, what does the question mean?
How much time we need from the dev to commit and that to be
If
pushed?
it's like if it has to go as soon as possible,
Yeah.
1 hour maximum or something, maybe less.
Max, how much time are you taking in Credit Corp?
It depends, but sometimes it takes 2 hours, and if we need to make a test, for example, it can take 5, 6 years. It depends of the. No, sorry, days. Sorry, days. It depends of the kind of change that you are making in the application.
Of course, if we're talking about critical, okay, financial sector activities and improvement, probably we need some checks and probably some manual activities also, are not just automated. But let's think on simple things. Changing a button color.
Yes, for example, if we are changing only the color of a button, it takes 1-2 hours. And if you need to change the functionality, it takes maybe 1, 2, 3 days.
Okay. And probably that's okay for the business. If we talk
Yes.
about 1 hour, 2 hour, the business is okay to that.
Yes, yes.
24 hours, probably not.
Yes, of course.
So we need to improve that. And the business is not pushing in general in the financial sector for more speed, but in some other sectors we need more speed. APIs are changing all the time, okay? Big cloud providers are changing, okay? The APIs, okay? Very, very fast. So when we talk about financial sector with cryptocurrencies, if we talk about blockchain, okay, things are changing, okay, very fast. And sometimes our app, it's outdated, it's not working because the API changed it. So we need like minutes sometimes, okay, for quick changes in our code. And we need to run quality code, security testing code, okay, to run the automated threat modeling, to do the auto fix, everything, okay, and probably we have 30 minutes, okay? So we need to improve, okay, on our speed to delivery. Okay, mean time to recovery, okay? If you have a production failure, how much time do we have? Do you have any kind of policy? Do you have any kind of policy for that in your organizations?
Yeah.
How much time?
We do. Depends on the
The error?
on
the
type
failure?
of the issue. Yeah.
Okay. But in general, there are no definitions, okay? Or it's very open, like, okay, let's fix it. It's our high priority.
Tribal knowledge.
Yeah, exactly.
Mostly I hear tribal
But
knowledge.
just probably, talking about those 100 companies, probably 2 have like, okay, for this time we have 24 hours, for this time you have 1 hour to solve it. I'm not sure how you're gonna do it, but in 1 hour this should be up and running, or just roll back to the other one. Okay, and the rate, okay, this is part of the density of our quality and security, okay. What percentage of deployments cause problem in production, okay. Do you have those metrics? Do you have that information? It's part of the question. Are we doing the right thing, or we are just applying tools and things that are not doing well, okay? And we need a lot of manual stuff still over there. So those are really critical questions, okay? That's an exercise. Okay, just some takeaways, okay, about Accelerate. It's not just about the speed, okay? It talks a lot about the speed. It's not just about the speed, okay, but stable and reliable, okay? That's part of the complete speech of Accelerate, okay? Measure and improve, okay? Interconnected and quality important, and to include and involve all the leadership, okay, on what we are doing, okay? We need to be aligned with the business, okay? And the other book was about team topologies. just a couple of things, okay? But we need to, again, rapid, sustainable software delivery, minimizing friction, and cognitive load. And probably these team topologies work across all the teams, okay? And to provide a full solution, okay, for the business model, and to define exactly what we need to do, defining roles, okay, and definitions, okay, across the dev team, okay? This book really changed the mind, okay, of the DevOps, okay, to extract from security the responsibilities and to put them into the dev team, okay? And from there, we need to solve all the points, okay? And we have this interaction as the main concept from the book, okay? We talk about this stream-aligned teams, okay, to create the full value, okay, to the company or to the organization, okay, to create the platform team, to enable teams that create the new technologies to implement, okay, what we need, okay, and to create those complicated subsystem teams, okay, which are really specialized. Those teams are responsible to do the solution, to bring the solution, okay, in our table, okay. Well, just at the end, okay, the three pillars, okay, of the book are about, when we talk about the interaction, are this part of collaboration, everything as a service, okay, and facilitating and enabling teams to help the value streams, okay, at the level. Okay, for the end, okay, so we are going to lunch on time. These 5 steps are like a quick, very small summary of what we need to do in order to go into DevSecOps, okay, in this first chapter of DevSecOps, talking about governance, but just we need to implement some tools also, okay, but the initial step, okay, is the change management, okay, to implement culture, to create, to reduce the friction, okay, of doing things different, okay. We need to change the minds of the company, change the minds of the executive management, in also changing the mind of the engineers, okay, and the technical team, okay, at the organization. Then we could implement pilot, okay, in some process, in introducing some new technologies, creating new definitions of how we develop software, okay. Then we go straight into the proof of concept, okay. In this level 2, we just analyze results, analyze the time, analyze our current situation, okay. If we run SAS, DAS, MAS, blah, 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 all our tools, okay. We have good budget, okay. We implement all the tools, and we have millions of vulnerabilities. And our team is dedicated to create new features. Who is going to solve all of this? Okay, we have a big problem when we implement everything. Okay, so we need to do it by phases, and depends on our maturity, this will be simpler or harder. Okay, but this is a really important point. Okay, and sometimes we need to make some definitions here. Okay, okay, let's run the tools to have visibility, but let's just, for example, start solving SAST, critical SAST, and let's start solving critical SSA problems, okay, and vulnerabilities. Okay, let's add infrastructure scope. Let's check and create some prioritization using CNAP, for example. Okay, what's external, what has known exploits, okay, and we go start creating our own priority matrix, okay, on what we need to control or block to go to production and what we don't need, okay, but this is about the tools, this is about time, this is about fixing, this is about budget, okay, a lot of things are involved in this step, okay. Then, and very aligned is that phase 3, which is the frictionless implementation, okay. All the market is talking about frictionless, okay. The applications might be frictionless, and the cybersecurity and the AppSec program should be frictionless, okay, on what we are doing. So we don't need to delay the time from code to cloud, but implement security. We don't need any manual intervention, okay? So we need to implement those tools. And sometimes, again, we could launch some asynchronic analysis, okay? For example, if we talk about dust, okay? Any web scanner will take 12 hours, okay? If we want a full scan, okay, let's just scan SQL injection and cross-site scripting for this flow that we change it, okay? So we could send them, if we're talking about API security, we will send the JSON with the Swagger and everything, and we will just scan 2-3 tests, okay, on those endpoints, okay? And then we can launch an asynchronic scan, okay, for the full scan, and could take 48 hours, okay? So we are working on the frictionless strategy of our program, okay, and make it happen. We'll have the information later. We're in production already. We are ensured that we don't have SQL injection and cross-site scripting. Just as an example, we could define hours, okay? Then the final tuning is the level 4, okay, where pipelines are blocking and implementing, and sometimes some of the companies fails on that. They do everything to level 3, but when they spend too much time going to block, okay, and this happens with the WAF, with the CNAP, with SSA, all the time, okay? They have the tool, they invest in the tools, they created the policies, they created the culture, they train the people, but they are not blocking, and probably they spend like 3 years over there, not blocking, having the tools and not blocking, or not fixing, okay? And it's a big, probably the biggest problem right now in the market, okay, at the governance level. We're not doing anything at that point, okay? And then we just finish, okay, with our model, and start our continuous improvement, okay, at the DevOps as reference Max, okay, technology changed all the time. We have a new environment, a new technology, new security products, okay, so we are working on this all the time, okay, it's not just something that is finished at the end of the line, okay? So guys, I hope you enjoyed the session, quite fast, but I just go straight into the point that I have interest to share with you guys. The presentation, you can download it from there, okay? bit.ly, the road to DevSecOps, or just taking a picture of the QR code. Any questions?